In 2000, an entire family was murdered in Tokyo, and the killer left behind bizarre clues. Eating from the refrigerator, using the computer, and even feces in the toilet. Who was he? Why was he never caught? Today we're going to explore one of Japan's greatest criminal mysteries. Get ready for a story that will leave you intrigued. Imagine a happy family like yours, living in a quiet house in Tokyo. It was the Miyazawa family. The father, Mikio, the mother, Yasuko, and their two children, Nina and Rei, who were only 8 and 6 years old. They were an ordinary family who liked to be together and enjoy life. But on a cold December day in 2000, something terrible happened. Someone broke into their house and did something horrible. They killed everyone. It was so violent that it shocked all of Japan. The father and mother were stabbed multiple times and the children were suffocated. When the police arrived, the house was silent, and the family that had previously lived there no longer existed. It was as if evil had entered the place and taken everything away. This crime became known as the Setagaya crime, and to this day, no one knows exactly why it happened. Now get ready for an even stranger part. This story is true. After committing such a horrible crime, the killer didn't run away like you might imagine a criminal would. He stayed in the house for hours, acting like he owned the place. Just imagine. He opened the refrigerator, grabbed an ice cream, and ate it as if he were relaxing after a normal day. Then he sat down at the family computer and accessed a gaming website as if he were having fun. But that's not all. He also left behind a bunch of things that looked like clues to a puzzle. Clothes, shoes, and even feces in the toilet. Yes, he used the toilet and didn't flush it, leaving everything there for the police to find. These feces were one of the most important clues because they contained DNA, which is like a unique code that each person has. The police thought, with this, we'll find out who he is. But even with all these clues, the killer was never caught. He acted as if he were playing hide and seek, leaving traces but disappearing without leaving any clear traces. And the strangest thing is that he didn't seem to be in a hurry. He cleaned up some of the blood on the floor, as if to hide what he had done, but he left other things clearly visible. Who could this person be? Why did he do all this? These questions still have no answers, and the mystery continues to scare many people. Now let's try to imagine who this person could be who did something so terrible. The Japanese police worked hard to find out, and with the clues the killer left, they were able to draw up a profile of him. They believe he was a young man, between 15 and 35 years old, and that he was about 1.70 meters tall. He was not very tall, but he was not short either. In addition, DNA analysis of the feces and other clues suggested something surprising. He could have South American or European ancestry. This means that perhaps he or his family came from countries like Brazil, Argentina, or even Europe, such as Italy or France. But here's the problem. Even with all this information, the police were never able to find out exactly who he was. He had no criminal record in Japan and no one recognized his identity. It was as if he were a ghost. He left traces, but no one knew where he came from or where he went. And that is what makes the case even more terrifying. Imagine a person who could be anywhere, living a normal life as if nothing had happened. Could he still be out there? Will someone ever discover the truth? These questions remain unanswered, and the mystery of the Setagaya killer remains alive. Now let's talk about something that makes everyone who hears this story stand on end: the crime scene. After killing the Miyazawa family, the killer didn't run away. He stayed in the house for hours, and what he did there is so strange that it seems like something out of a horror movie. First, he opened the refrigerator and ate ice cream and other food, as if he were at home. Then he sat down at the family computer and accessed a gaming website. It seems like he was relaxing, as if nothing bad had happened, but it doesn't stop there. He also cleaned up some of the blood on the floor as if he wanted to hide what he did, but he left other things very visible, like the clothes and shoes he wore during the crime. And what's more, he used the bathroom and left feces there without flushing it. It seems like he wanted the police to find these clues, but at the same time, he didn't leave anything that could clearly reveal his identity. It's as if he was playing a joke on the authorities, saying, "Here are my clues, but you'll never catch me." This calm and coldness are what scares the most. How could someone do something so horrible and then act like it was a normal day? Did he have a plan, or did he simply not care about what he had done? These questions remain unanswered, and the bizarre crime scene is one of the reasons why this case is so fascinating and terrifying at the same time. Now, let's think about something that leaves everyone confused. Why would someone do something so horrible? In the case of the Setagaya crime, this question is even harder to answer because there is no clear motive. The police investigated everything. Was it a robbery? No, because nothing of value was taken from the house. Did the family have enemies? No, because they were an ordinary family with no known problems. So what could have driven the killer to do this? Some people think he may have acted out of hatred or revenge, but there is no proof of this. Others think that perhaps he did it on impulse without planning. But the way he acted after the crime so calmly suggests that he knew what he was doing. And there are still those who believe that he may have some kind of mental disorder, something that made him act in such a violent and bizarre way. But the truth is that no one knows. The lack of a clear motivation is what makes this case even more frightening. When we don't know the motive for a crime, it's hard to understand how someone could be capable of doing something so cruel. And this also makes people feel more insecure, because if there's no motive, how can we protect ourselves? The Setagaya crime reminds us that sometimes evil can come without warning, and that's something that's very scary. Now let's think about something that leaves everyone confused. Why would someone do something so horrible? In the case of the Setagaya crime, this question is even more difficult to answer, because there's no clear motivation. The police investigated everything. Was it a robbery? No, because nothing of value was taken from the house. Did the family have enemies? No, they were a normal family with no known problems. So what could have driven the killer to do this? Some people think he may have acted out of hatred or revenge, but there is no evidence of this. Others think he may have done it on impulse without planning, but the way he acted after the crime so calmly suggests he knew what he was doing. And there are still those who believe he may have had some kind of mental disorder, something that made him act in such a violent and bizarre way. But the truth is that no one knows. The lack of a clear motive is what makes this case even more terrifying. When we don't know the motive for a crime, it's hard to understand how someone could be capable of doing something so cruel. And it also makes people feel more insecure, because if there's no motive, how can we protect ourselves? The Setagaya crime reminds us that sometimes evil can strike without warning, and that's something that's very scary. The Setagaya crime wasn't just a police case. It became part of Japanese culture and history. Imagine a crime so shocking that everyone talks about it, even years after it happened. This case made headlines in newspapers, on TV shows, and even inspired documentaries and books. People were fascinated and terrified at the same time by the bizarre details. The killer ate ice cream, used the computer, and left feces in the toilet. It seemed like something out of a horror movie, but it was real. This crime also made people think about security. If an ordinary family in a quiet neighborhood could be the victim of something so horrific, is anyone really safe? The case raised many questions about how police investigate crimes and how society can protect itself. Furthermore, the fact that the killer was never caught left everyone feeling a sense of injustice. How could someone do something so cruel and then simply disappear? The Setagaya crime also showed how the media can influence the way people view a case. The stories about the mysterious killer and the bizarre clues captured the imagination of many, but they also brought a dark side. The suffering of the Miyazawa family and the pain of those left behind. This case is a reminder that behind every crime, there are destroyed lives and questions that may never be answered. So, what did you think of this story? Scary, right? The Setagaya crime is one of those mysteries that you spend days thinking about, trying to understand how something like this could happen. But you know what's best? This is just the first of many stories that I'm going to bring you. Stay tuned to the channel, because there are many more intriguing, bizarre, and mysterious cases to come. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss anything new. Until the next video, and remember, the world is full of stories that will leave you speechless. See you then.